Hi, Brooklyn. I wanted to leave you some feedback on SA three. As a whole, this is great. Your description of the plot summary and the cinematic elements that you're using to support your stance um, is very detailed and very clear. Um, that I, I think that one of the things that's so enjoyable about your writing in this paper is that like your affinity for the movie comes in or comes through quite clearly. And that's just something that I don't know. I don't know if you can teach that, right? So as a writing instructor, it's something that I look for, excitement, right? Passion, connection to topic. And it's something that I can encourage, but I'm not sure that I can necessarily teach. Like, so the one thing that I can encourage is, hey, write about something you care about. And I think that you tapped into something here. It's clear that you, like I said, not only understand the film quite well, but that you have a clear affinity for it. And that makes your writing enjoyable to read. So I just want to talk about some very minor editorial concerns, and then a larger idea in terms of revision. But as a whole, know that this is quite strong. So the minor editorial concerns, movie titles, you don't need to put them in, they're just in italics, so they don't need to be both italicized and in quotation marks. It's just italics. In addition, be certain to edit for contractions. I'm trying to find one. There's several throughout the draft. Just you want to avoid. Oh, here we go. Now it also can't be said. Remember, contractions are just too informal to use in professional writing, so you just want to write this word out. Right? Cannot. I can't remember where it is, but at one point you use the word insane to describe something, an occurrence in the text. I can't remember exactly where it is, but that's another example of informal tone, because I think that you're using that as the slang term. So you don't want to slip into slang or informal diction. In addition, I think a lot of readers, because our conversations about mental health are becoming more nuanced, I think that some readers might be offended by that word choice. So it's probably best to replace that with something that more accurately captures the argument. Or sorry, your sentiment. In reading your thesis statement, and I think I remember saying this in your draft, you said when the viewer watches it, they will find themselves wanting to watch it again and again, and search in a desperate search for simpler times. And I think that this was an idea that, while your audience is quite clear, I think that this was the idea that I wanted you to clarify, because it's your thesis, so that essentially means that every argumentative point that you make in the paper will be in support of that argument. And really, to me, the majority of the discussion is anything but a simpler time, right? Like this is pretty. It seems like a relatively complicated. Oh, I found the word insane. A relatively complicated plot line and some pretty sophisticated discussion of character, myth, and cinematic elements. Now, you return to the idea of simpler times in the conclusion, but I'm wondering if that can be reinforced more clearly throughout the paragraph. So, really, what you mean by simpler times, and how the movie reinforces that. I think you kind of touch on it. I think it's in this paragraph where you're um you refer to Hercules as the clumsy kid, and that to me, harkens to the idea of simpler times. And I'm wondering if how that idea could be reinforced in the body paragraphs, right? Um, So I guess tapping into, I guess, childhood nostalgia throughout the body paragraphs would be a good idea to anchor it into your thesis more. But just something to consider. Other than that, I think that you just have some really minor surface level edits to account for. But I think it's a pretty successful film review. So good job.